Welcome everybody to the Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms stream. My name is Dylan. Bear with me while I get my mic reset up here. It occurred to me as we were playing D&D just now that I needed to get the stream ready. So it's a little bit more haphazard than usual. So my apologies. My ears. Oh yeah, sorry, my volume. You know, somebody was in here messing with my stuff. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm gonna blame Clive, maybe, or yeah, whoever else was in here. So my levels just aren't quite right. Hello, Thanthanos, Clicksand, Obo Crazy, Node 40, Sarnagain, Clive CNE, Reaper Cake, Lucithia, Garwar. So many people in here. Excellent. Thanthanos, I'm glad you like Regis. I like Regis too. He has been nothing but awesome for me so far. Although one could argue that maybe we could have timed a Celeste DLC giveaway a little better, so that we didn't have the best reason not to switch to Regis come out the day before Regis. But you know, sometimes that's what happens. Hi, Salisa, Narpar, Maxwell Begun, Realms Gamer, Kyling 121, Killing. Sounds like killing. Yes, welcome everybody. So for those who do not know, I am Dylan Wilks. I am a person who works at Codename Entertainment with a job title that makes no sense, which is why it says Shadarkai Warlock at the bottom of the screen right now, because that's the character I just rolled for our office campaign. We're playing Curse of Strahd during our lunch breaks, and we just started that today, which is why my setup isn't quite as ideal as it usually is. Yes, so welcome everybody. It's great to see you. And before we begin, obviously I'd like to thank Wizards of the Coast and for allowing us the use of the official Dungeons and Dragons Twitch. It's pretty awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. It's just awesome. It's so awesome to be here. We're stoked. So are you all ready to talk about Idle Champions and do some giveaways and, you know, maybe go over some of the recent things that have happened in game? I know that the Discord and the forums seem to have been quite a bit more active of late. Lots of feedback coming in. Yesterday's Q&A was the busiest one we've had on the subreddit to date so far. Lots of questions coming in, and so I'm definitely going to take some time to go over that. And then the guest today is none other than community manager CNE Erika herself, who will be taking a bit of a switch from her role managing the Codename Entertainment account for the stream and joining me in a chair beside me to answer your questions. So pretty stoked about that. It's always fun for everybody to get to meet people that they, may never have known before. Who hasn't been on camera yet? I don't think for us, except maybe during one of our Extra Life attempts. I'm just going to switch over to the game view so you guys can see where I'm at right now. Let's see. What am I doing? I'm still doing the free play, and it seems like I have kind of stalled out. I'm not quite sure what kind of formations are ideal for the midwinter yet. I haven't done too much. My favor's still kind of low. But before I get into that, let's go over the subreddit Q&A a bit. Just because we covered so much ground this week that I'd kind of like to start us off by going over some of that. Obviously, the office plague, of which I am still at least a little bit of a sufferer. So I will probably stop talking to cough at least a few times over the next couple hours. It's much better than it was, though. I couldn't do anything without hacking up a lung the other day, so this is a much improvement. Luckily for us, our team totally kicked ass at the end of last year and got us into a really good spot moving into the beginning of this year, so that when everybody was dying of the plague, it didn't totally take us off the rails. We're still very much on track, at least with all of our scheduled things. It just yeah. So we're obviously Midwinter came out yesterday, and I almost spoiled something there, so I'm going to stop talking on that one. So what do we have here? I know that Silesa's in chat here, but Silesa also asked a number of questions on the during the subreddit yesterday. The first question being asking us whether or not Codename Entertainment is happy with the current state of Barrowin, the tedious bench and replacement mechanic to progress, save from the areas 210 plus, and the displacement of ultimate abilities due to it. And it was an interesting one because when we, I talked about it amongst the team, and the short answer is we're not happy with it exactly. It's working, and we've Zeza Shatan, thank you for the WizKids minis. Thank you for participating. Anyways, yeah, so we aren't quite happy with Barrowin, where Barrowin's at, but I don't have any other things to announce about what's coming up next with her. It's tricky. It's an answer I give a lot, and it's not because I want to be infuriating or I don't want to communicate with you guys. It's more that I prefer to give out concrete information whenever possible. So a lot of the time the answer is going to be I don't have anything at this time to share. But I'm still finding that Barrowin is quite strong, personally. But my Tyrrell is also better geared, so I tend to use Tyrrell more frequently myself. What was the next question? Splurch. Will gold items given out for purchasing chests be made available again in the future? Or if they're gold items that are one-time opportunities. And if any of you are familiar with our other title, Crusaders of Lost Idols, we have brought back items in the past with that game, and it's likely something that will be similar in Idle Champions, but that hasn't taken a shape yet. So it will happen, but Reaper Cake is right. Yes, spoilers equals no job. Well, or just you guys would get to watch the cameras get knocked over as Justin jumps in here and just removes me, both physically and in every possible way. When one gets fired from Codename, it's that's it. You shuffled off the mortal coil. Let's see. Next question. I don't have an answer for that one. Final. Okay. Roundhouse Kitty asked a whole bunch of questions, and we tried to get through a bunch of them. So let's see. Starting with, will we ever see monster race playable characters like goblins or orcs or constructs? Of which I can't answer because that would be a spoiler. Roundhouse Kitty also asked if we ever go through old 3rd edition, 3.5 or 4th edition stuff to be inspired for characters or classes, or whether or not we strictly stick to the current edition of D&D. And we do. We 5th edition is what we are. Pretty much everything that you can expect from us will be 5th edition. That there's always a chance it'll change in the future, but right now we're pretty strictly 5e. Roundhouse Kitty also asked whether or not Barrowin stacks are still supposed to stay on a benched character, and yes, we instituted a cap at 4 stacks. So, yeah. Let's see. And then the other questions were character related, in terms of just balancing, and those are things that we're actively looking at. Hi, Joe Hills and Ray Cool and Giant Dwarf and everybody else who's still joining us. And we're glad that you are enjoying the Celeste Starter Pack. I had that on my list of things to chat about, but I just want to get through the Reddit Q&A a bit first. This can be found, all can be found on reddit.com/r/idlechampions. So if there's any information you want, you can get better explanations a lot of the times there. Certainly both from players and from Codename staff, because myself and Erika both answer questions there. Another player asked whether or not gold shiny items are supposed to be counting towards the achievement for a number of shiny items equipped. And it sounds like there are some inconsistencies with how that's being read, and so Justin said he would take a look. I don't have anything to add beyond that right now. Let's see. players asking us for ways to see more statistics in game, which has come up more than a few times, and it's an idea that we like, but it doesn't have a shape for us in terms of what we would like to do. David's talked about it a few times on stream because it tends to come up when he's on stream, and it's something that interests us as well. And then a third question from Silisa was actually, will Codename Entertainment continue to use the Steam DLC feature or the in-game shop for future DLC? Certainly in referencing the free Celeste downloadable content, which is going on right now until tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific. Some players who have already taken advantage of that won't be able to take advantage of it more than once because that's not because of how Steam works, which obviously wouldn't be something that happens with the in-game shop. But I don't know how much I can get into it, but there are a lot of reasons why we use the Steam in-game shop, and so it's unlikely that we're going to stop doing that. It's kind of just, the plan is still to just use the Steam store. Sorry. Okay. Got some questions about when Regis is coming, which the answer would have been a couple hours from there. But, Increpid, the weekly stream code is in the corner. It's, So, let's see. Questions like, are we going to improve mission rewards? And, certainly the 100 gems being the consistent reward for all things is not something that we intend to keep forever, but we're still looking at a system that will work for that. I can't spoil anything about that. Any plans on having free plays with different formations available? That's an interesting idea that I passed along to the team. And then more people asking about when the patch is coming yesterday, which it was obviously coming pretty quickly. So, yeah. Let's see. Rumble Belly Chest is a gold chest. The weekly stream is a gold Regis. Actually, I haven't even done that myself yet. So let's pull that up right here. Rumble. Well, what do you know? Gold Regis chest. Let's see if I get anything interesting. Aw, no epics. Darn. Alrighty, let's see what else we got. We had people asking us whether or not dwarves or elves would be viable as primary DPS. And it's like, I can't really spoil what's coming, but I would say that Dritz is actually pretty viable right now. And depending on your gear, Delana and Jarlaxle can be viable for your formations as well. So it's, balance is an ongoing thing. And it's something that Justin's always going to be looking at. And I can't really give any more information about what kind of changes or anything are coming up with that. So just bear with me for a moment here. I need to drink a lot more water when my throat is like this. Well, Ray Cool, it's not that I'm saying that Delana is better as a core DPS than Hitch, or that, Hitch's friendly buff isn't absurdly good. It's more that, it really does depend on what kind of gear you have opened for your champions. There are people who have opened all epics for and use him. I have way better gear for Stokey than for Jarlaxle, so I always use Stokey. This is kind of how it goes. Let's see, what else do we have for questions that I can get into from the subreddit? It's probably better that everybody else just check it out themselves if they're really interested. But, OG17 pointed out that we don't have any descriptions of any of the gods on their blessing pages, which is a bit of a missed opportunity with not just flavor, but adding more information in the game. And that's something that we should totally think about doing. Fairy Godfather asked if Wizards considers the Forgotten Realms offshoots, other realms, as part of the realms, and whether or not there are characters or settings from those that would be added to the game. And it's not really something that we can answer, because we do everything through Wizards, and we definitely cannot speak for what is or isn't considered canonically part of the Forgotten Realms. That's way above our pay grade. But there's certainly a great deal that we can add, even just from the 5e Forgotten Realms right now. So there's a long ways for us to go before this game is, running out of things that we could add. Yeah. Okay. So let's get into today's Q&A, of which there are many questions. So I will do my best to get to all of them. And if you have questions for Erika, community-related questions, or even actually she's better at answering a lot of questions than I am, feel free to throw those our way now, and we'll just save them up for when she joins us on the stream. Alrighty, so let's see. Baron Stromgard asking whether or not we have implemented saving throws in the game, specifically for things like the level 50 Devourer and the new event. So we haven't. Like many D&D mechanics, saving throws are not something that's a part of the design of the game right now. That isn't to say that it'll always be that way, but not currently. Candyman. Let's see. Oh, are people annoyed that my characters aren't progressing? Maybe I'll level them up and what should I do? Should I do elves and dwarves, humans, or tiefling, firbolg, and dragonborn? I'll wait for everybody to decide before I pick one for Ashara. Which I think there's like a 10-second delay, so it'll be a moment before it comes to everybody. Elves, dwarves, human, elves, dwarves, tiefling, elves. Alright, I'll do elves. Of course, I don't really have an elf to put in there yet, so maybe I'll just wait until Dritz is there. If I'm going to use Dritz DPS, then melee weakness. Alrighty, let's get this show on the road. No, elves with Dritz. Yeah, my Dritz is actually pretty decently geared. I just need to unlock him. Once he can attack 3 times, I'm telling you, Dritz is actually really strong. He tears through stuff once you get him rolling. Alright, so let's see. Candyman, can you explain the epically geared tier 3 blessing? Is it just applied to the person for each epic they have, or is it all the epics in party added up and that bonus applied to the party? So you're referring to tier 3 blessings. I think it's in this one, isn't it? Wait, is it the well geared one from here or epically geared? The bonus is actually counted up in the top. So I'm not sure what else you're referring to. Yeah, maybe if there's something more you want from that, you can ask that follow-up, Candyman. Garwar, Barrowin is an upgrade from Tyrell, but honestly only because Tyrell doesn't have group damage upgrades after 350. More level upgrades when? Ooh, I can't spoil that information. Let's see. Niall Sustanet, did you just call your boss a murderer? I said that I do fear for my safety if I spoil things I'm not supposed to. Garwar again, do ultimates gain damage boosts from Rumblebelly's Ruby weakness ability? I don't know. I haven't actually even tried to use any of that yet. I have barely used Regis. I have only used his buffs. This is why I'm using Regis instead of Celeste, because I got this. That and the golden item. It's he makes him crazy good for me. I have no idea if he's going to be a replacement for Celeste for everybody else, or I guess it's a matter of how many chests you open and what kind of luck you get. But I'm finding him to be crazy good for me so far, but I couldn't tell you whether or not the ultimate gains a damage boost from the Ruby weakness. So I will pass that along to somebody who does possibly know, and hopefully get you an answer either during the stream or after. OMFG Tora, is the background for the snowy area supposed to look out of focus and give you a headache? I guess that depends on your vision. But certainly you cannot see backgrounds clearly in the snow normally. In real life, it just gets kind of muffled, you know. So it's an aesthetic decision, not a trying to give you a headache decision. Giant dwarf, why does Blink Dog not blink? Yeah, you're referring to the special abilities from the enemies in game. It's kind of a similar thing as the monstrous wolves not having breath attacks too, right? Yeah. Thanks for the feedback. Let's see. Why were anyone? Considering that there aren't any game-breaking bugs anymore, and the game overall looks like a full game, when are you going to drop the early access part and consider it a release game? There are some things that we are working towards that, when they are ready, we will bring the game out of early access, and I can't give any more information about that. But we are glad that it's starting to look like a full game to everybody else. Cheese dips. Hey, when I open my shop, my game stops responding for quite a while, and I have to wait a bit for it to restart. Anybody else have this problem? That is the first I've heard of it, Cheese Dips. So, my suggestion to you would be to open a ticket and maybe see if there's something else that we can have a look and figure out what's going on. Delana is an elf. Why not put her in? Because Hitch is amazeballs, but sure, why not? Is that better or worse? E24. Yeah, that's worse. My Hitch is just better geared than Delana. I can't use her. Zaphalon, are you looking to possibly add more music in any way? Dave was asked that question before. Oh, excuse me. Oh God, what was Dave's answer? You know, I can't remember what he said specifically about it, because the answer was addressed. But it's basically kind of like one of those things where it's a resource that we don't necessarily want to... A resource direction. Like, we don't want to allocate resources to that when we could be making more content, I think was his response. All right, let's see. Daylight Asunder. I'm sure it has been asked before, but has the suggestion of opening more than one common chest at a time been brought up? It has been, and it's the more some of these suggestions come up, the more likely they are to become things someday. Because, like, if it is a feature that our community is clamoring for, awesome. But if it's three, you know, if it's three people telling us that and everybody else is content, then it's might not be a feature that we focus on. So I'll just make a note about that, Daylight Asunder, and pass that feedback along. All right, Magenta Shirt. Can you tell us why information exactly are collected by the game, and for what it is actually used, and to which parties exactly the information are provided to? Are you I'm not sure what you mean there. Are you wondering what kind of information the game knows about you? Because we don't provide information to anybody. Yeah, so Magenta Shirt, if you can get a little bit more specific with what your question is, feel free to bounce that one back to us again. Nin Muffin, will there ever be a testing area to try formations and to easily be able to compare them? It's not something that we have on our plate or planned, but it's also it is a feature that people have been asking for more and more. So yeah, certainly it would be ideal to have a way to test formations in advance, just to move things around and see what works. Easier than moving back to a previous area and, you know, testing things yourself. So I'm going to make a note on that one as well, because that's something that has come up before. All right, Bardet80. Are we seeing
improvements on how tanking specializations work? And when are you going to do something with Archon? I can't spoil anything, but it is something that we are very aware of and that we are hoping to address. Ice Flare 420. Is Ashara going to get more racial buff types? Thanks for all the work. Thank you. We aren't planning on that right now, but that doesn't mean that that's always going to be the plan. Certainly, it would make Ashara a little bit too permanently useful and much harder to swap out if Ashara could literally buff every type. So, I don't anticipate us making that change. PDX Ace, any update on underground distractions? When are they getting added? Any news? Shout out from Portland. I assumed you were from Portland because it's PDX. Hello, Portland. We certainly do want to add more distractions to the game. That's probably the most I could share about that. Matt Parsley. There are a lot of times I want to test various formations in a static situation, but that isn't possible right now. Again, I will make that note again. If it's, we certainly need the feedback. We want to make sure that we're building things into the game that people want. Realms Gamer, is there a way to hide characters you are not using? There is not. They're just kind of on the bench, and you can scroll past them. Let's see. The boats. Is there going to be a way to gear out older event characters later on because they will eventually get outscaled as we get more epics on our main crew? There will be. That hasn't taken a definitive shape, but it is definitely something that we're looking at. A corpse. Is Dritz pronounced Dritz as canon? That's a very good question, and we have a lot of different pronunciations of Dritz that have come through our office. Certainly quite a few people say Drizzit. But Dritz is the one that has stuck for us, and I believe it's because that's what R.A. Salvatore said in an interview once. But don't quote me on that because I don't know where that came from. That's just the one that we're sticking with for now. Phil Z12. Last time I watched the stream, I asked if there was going to be a way to get past event heroes and was told yes. Please explain how. So it's not something that's currently in the game, but like gearing out older event characters, both gearing out older characters and finding ways to add characters in that people have missed are two different things that we're looking at finding solutions for. So I'm just going to take a brief break here for some water, and then I'll talk about the first raffle. So we're going to do our first raffle in a moment here. Once Erika or Clive, or I believe it's Erika, currently managing the Codename Entertainment account. And this first raffle is for a Tyrrell Starter Pack DLC. Dylan Sprouse's Druid. So, good luck to everybody. It's certainly a totally kick-ass way to buff a very important part of pretty much every formation. So good luck. And back to the questions. Kindred Zen, how much favor should you spend and why ever reset it? You only really reset your favor spent if you feel like you've made a mistake and you want to undo it. But hopefully you never have to, because you never get 100% of your favor back. You get 99% of it ish back. So you lose a tiny bit every time you do that. In terms of how much you want to have, just thinking about the game mechanics, you want to work towards getting all of the global blessings and then as many of the other tier blessings as you can in order to progress as far as possible. To get past your wall, whatever it is. So certainly the tier 1 global blessing for both Kelemvor and Torn are absolutely imperative. And then the tier 2 one for Kelemvor that buffs the amount of favor gained from event resets is massive. It's super, super helpful for building up favor during events. And you want to work towards eventually purchasing all of them, and while at the same time still maintaining enough favor to quickly level your characters and push to your wall as fast as you can, as efficiently possible. I couldn't tell you what the exact perfect number is for that kind of thing, just because I don't know what the ideal number is. But I prefer to keep my normal favors at least at 1.5 EO9, which is, I don't know, however many 100 million, I think. Just so that the first levels you can buy lots of characters quickly and just level up and get to your wall fast. Yeah. But yes, you definitely want to find that balance between having enough favor to level quickly and push to your wall quickly, and spending enough to buff your characters so that you can get further. All right, so Yinzer, or Y1NZ3R, can you comment on the logic behind the latest Barrow hammer nerf and why it wasn't mentioned in the patch notes? Is active play frowned upon? So it wasn't a nerf so much as a bug fix. There were unintended interactions, and you can still buff her up if you play actively. I guess the thing with Barrowan is that when Barrowan was first released, it was able to exploit. You were able to exploit her buff infinitely and reach any number of levels, some of which should be impossible to reach with the way the game is currently set up. And so that was changed, and so now it caps out at most 4 stacks, and you can still get up to 4 stacks if you want to actively play the game, as you mentioned, and swap her on and off the bench. But you don't have to do that. And certainly if your character attacks slowly enough, you can get 2 buffs with passive play. So I guess the thing about being mentioned in the patch notes is that I'm pretty sure it was mentioned in the patch notes, actually. Whoop, no, not support. Changelog. Fix an unintended issue where Barrowan's Blessed Hammer could affect ultimate attacks. It's right there. So I think maybe the issue here might actually be with how we communicated it, in that we didn't just say, these are the interactions that we are preventing this way. That's really it. Ultimate nerf wasn't mentioned when the last weekend started. Oh, I see. What is this? Oh, because when the patch went out. Okay, yeah. Oh, that might have just been a mistake on our part, or it might have been that it was a fix. It was delayed in the patch note coming out. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Like, we're human and we make mistakes with that kind of thing. Certainly, there is no intention of, not telling people what's going on with the game, because we do try to include everything in the changelog. So, yeah, no, sorry about that if that was how that played out. All right, so what else? Let's see, next question. Blue Phoenix 175. Can y'all add a complete adventure and restart button alongside the complete adventure and go to map button? Oh, so you want another button. Oh, I see. So you skip the completion screen. I can make a note about that. I don't know if that's a priority change we're looking for, but I will pass that along. Bardet80. When are we going to see a dragon or a beholder? I mean, a beholder is the logo of the game. So, I mean, you see Iris, our beholder, all the time. Right, cool. I'm officially posting the changelogs in the Discord in a new channel. But it's in the game. You know, like what would be the point of having it both in the game and in a bunch of other places? I would rather direct everybody to the same spot that does get updated, than potentially have a spot where, you know, we forget to update the Discord or some other place with the change notes. So the game right now is intended to always be the spot for the most complete change log that has tons and tons and tons of stuff in it. Let's see, Bard at 80. When are we going to see a Dragon or a Beholder? Those are pretty big tier enemies to face, so we just haven't reached that point yet. You know, like we see a Devourer in this event, and certainly there's a zombie T-Rex. Yeah. Let's see, what's next? Asking, okay, so Luda RS brought up something that we've talked about before, about polling the community for suggestions on the game. And the response I'm going to give about that now is the same response I gave before and that I also have given on the Discord a few times. We need to be in a position to actually act on feedback from the community before we start trying to solicit input from the community on something. So like the worst thing about, like, you know, hypothetically, because this isn't what's coming up, but like say hypothetically we put a, hey, like which champion would you want to see next thread up, and we had people vote on it and what have you. There isn't a way for us to do anything about that in a meaningful amount of time based on what our timelines are right now. Like we're not in a position to act on it. And so, you know, when we solicit feedback from our community, we want it to be something that's like a part of an active process where we have the capacity to do something about it. So that's why we haven't done that kind of thing yet. All right, Capped CRC. When will we get a borderless windowed mode? Yeah, okay. I'm going to put that note in again because it's like, again, it's one of those things, if enough people request it, we'll eventually get around to doing it. Vox Nix. Alrighty, can you please tell me what gold find percentage is realistic in completing the quests to unlock Drits? So, unlocking Drits is tough. It is one of the most challenging things we have in the game right now. Aside from a few of the most recent challenging variants for Tomb of Annihilation and Grand Tour of the Sword Coast, unlocking Drits is not an easy task. You know, if you have a fresh account, it's going to take you more than a month to build up enough favor and enough blessings to make a run at it and actually get through. So, in terms of what's a realistic gold find percentage, what's my gold find percentage at in Torms right now? 1E9 EO9. 189 EO9. So, I wasn't much. Like I'm not that much further now than I was when I first got Drits with this, like maybe a handful more levels in our tier 3 blessings, and it was tough. You know, so expect it to be a grind that takes a while, but you know, it's a permanent part of the campaign. So while it is a challenge, it's a challenge that will always be there. So you'll get to it eventually. DJ Taz TM. Is it possible to make the mouse pointer in frost areas another color? Because I can't catch crows very often. That's a fair bit of feedback. I'll make a note about that because it also lines up with some feedback we received before about just having a different mouse cursor in game than the default Windows mouse cursor. So yeah, I'll make a note. Chuka Tibbs, Dylan, what is your choice between these two snack crackers? Goldfish crackers or Cheez-Its? Ooh, so I don't eat crackers anymore, but when I did, it would have been goldfish crackers, like just by the mouthful. Yeah, that's a lot of salt and not healthy food to be downing though. So I don't really eat crackers anymore. Let's see. Silisa question. Why does Regis's ult buff all champions by 800% when other champions do meaningless damage? The champion you want Regis to buff already has the Regis buff. That's a good point, and I will pass that along. Shark KQ, can we get an option to toggle on auto progress by default? Yes, we can. God, and that's a request we've had almost every single week, and I'm just gonna make a note and pass it along to Dave again, because someday we will have that feature. Certainly a few times, even on stream, where I've started the match and then got caught in conversation with somebody else and just not leveled or moved my characters in forever, and it just to the much frustration of the audience. So sorry about that, but yes, that is something that is coming. The Divot, how is the Barrowan buff currently working with ultimates? That's a good question too. Erika might know that one as well. Never mind Dave and Justin, because I don't know past the change how that has shifted. All I know is that it's no longer crazy over buffing everybody's ultimates and stuff. Thantanos, what part of the game currently are you happiest with? And can you share one suggestion you made that was recently implemented? Let's see. Well, this button in the top left corner of the screen here that hides the UI is not a suggestion that I made, but it's one that I nagged Dave to do, and then he did. What am I the most happy with? Right now, I'm at a point where we've got a few more champions to swap in and out, and like I was pushing with a Dritz formation earlier today, using Regis instead of Celeste, and it's getting to the point where I could push as far with that formation as I can with a Jamila formation. I'm almost as far. I mean, that Jamila sword from the weekend buff put her another notch above for me. But it's just like adding more characters and getting more variety. Like that's the part that's making me the happiest, because if you'll remember back in like September, October, it's like our formation strategies were really limited. But between Dadius and Barrowan and now Dritz and Regis, it's like it's starting to open up, and like that's the part that I'm the most happy with, because it keeps opening up more. I don't envy how difficult of a job Justin has with having to both future-proof champion design to make sure that they don't break everything down the line, and also create a diverse meta, and also pay attention to what's happening right now, but also what's happening in the near future, and like everything balancing related that he has to do while designing characters as they come into the game. It's just like makes my brain want to explode just thinking about it. So right now I'm most happy with like the growing diversity in the game, and like also like with every character we add from the companions, the hall, and can't take that sentence much further, but like with every character we add, like we get closer to having some really creative and fun formations, and I really look forward to seeing where that goes. All right, Daylights Asunder. Are we going to get more global blessings, and perhaps even have global blessings that need 2 or more types of favor? Daylights Asunder, you're asking questions I can't answer without disappearing forever. So I could say no comment. Yeah. Shazos asks, any reason why you don't use the edge of your seat's blessing? Oh, is that the attack timer one? Oh, excuse me. Don't remember them off the name. It's Kellenbor, right? It's one that I'm not using. Yes. I don't, because my DPS always tends to be on the edge of the formation, and I have often been using Barrowan, I don't want my champions to attack faster. That's really it. I mean, I'm sure mathematically it's an upgrade that's good, and I can certainly afford to buy it and max it out. But yeah, that was just that might be my perhaps faulty logic on why I never purchased it. So, if I'm totally wrong about that, Shazos, let me know. The boats. Will we eventually get more control over each character, such as being able to target attacks, target ultimate attacks, or stop people from attacking for Barrowan buffs? I don't know that that's something that we're planning on. But I can say that we are planning on, evolving the game. Yeah, Tyrone Cash for money. I reset my blessings and removed all edge of your seat when I got Barrowan. Yeah, it's just Yeah, it's good if Barrowin's the one getting the buff. You just don't want your DPS to be getting it. I don't know. Anyways, Smith of Dreams. Will there be a fast forward or skip early starting a free play? So if you're referring to how pointless it sometimes seems, I guess, is not probably the best way to describe it, but referring to the how much time it takes up to get through the early levels when really like the game doesn't present a challenge for you until much further. That is something that we're looking at. We are looking at a way of speeding up or accelerating the early game. But we just haven't quite reached a point where that's something that becomes like a high priority for us to implement. But it's certainly in the pipeline. Ray Cool, can we get a third numbers display option of engineer notation? Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I'm going to make a note about that, and I will pass that along. Thanks, very cool. I like that one. Nomad84. Are there plans to add more features which reduce the amount of manual clicking needed to get to our wall? For example, an auto upgrade type feature. I can't spoil anything about that kind of. Yeah, no spoilers. 1080 pleb. Thoughts on the fact that higher DPS can be attained by not using some of the blessings? Can you be more specific? Yeah. 1080 pleb, I need more info on that question. Crouching Heimer, Hidden Dong. Does this game ever get to a point where all champs seem useful? I've been playing for a few weeks and it seems like only 2 champs even do damage. I guess it depends on your definition of useful. Most formations focusing on 1 or 2 DPS, every other character is working to improve those 2 champions DPS. It's like it's the best way to max out the amount of damage that your party can do. So they are all useful in buffing those characters, but it is only those characters that are doing 99.9% of all the killing of the enemies. So is the part where I guess because like you will always eventually reach the point where your most maxed out character is the only one killing anybody. Like that's just kind of the way that the game is built currently. So you know, certainly all the champions are killing everything from the start. But as you get further in the game, you know the difference of where you're putting your energy and efforts changes their effectiveness. J Club 7. Will factions like Harper's Order the Iron Gauntlet be coming to the game as a secondary progression? So as a progression system, I don't know. We don't have any plans that I've heard of related to that. But I will make a note about that. DCY Matrix, Dicey Matrix. Will there be an option to see the effects on the character portraits instead of only on the action board? Oh, DC Matrix, do you mean like the character buffs that you currently see in the formation, like showing up on the characters' faces? That's an interesting idea. I will pass it along. Portland Ace again. On special events, is it better to push to 49 and regrind to build favor, or just push through the wall? Is the gems worth it? Your opinion. I suppose that depends. Like, I suspect it might be more efficient in some cases to push to 49 and reset and do that a couple times to build up your favor. But like, I just pushed to my wall because I play pretty idle compared to a lot of players, and I just pushed to my wall and then I reset once I had enough tokens to do the next one. So like I don't reset until I can start another free play, or I hit my wall. Ideally, I hit my wall first. Ideally I hit enough tokens before you get the idea. Silisa, why didn't you try my new account 100% Advent Achievement Challenge? Honestly, Silisa, the only reason is because I don't have time. That's it. I thought it was a great idea, and it's something that I would have liked to have done if I had more free time right now. But while the game is totally on track, following the crazy number of sick leaves we've had over the last couple weeks, I am a bit behind on some of the things that I need to get through, both this week and in the coming weeks. So I didn't have time to start another event, another account, and do your 100% event achievement challenge. But I totally love that you're doing it, and I think it's freaking awesome. And I very much look forward to hearing about and reading your feedback once Midwinter is over and you're done that. Amethyst Dragon 19. Why does it seem like there is always a superior choice for most branching choices rather than having to weigh pros and cons of each choice? That's just kind of how the chips have fallen right now. Certainly in the long term, our intent is for more options to be available. Rhizode. What are the odds of getting a post-run scoreboard with damage healing done per character? I don't know that that's anything we've ever considered, but I can pass that bit of feedback along. Certainly we get a lot more requests now. Now that more of the bugs have been worked out, a lot of our feedback tends to revolve around features that people want, more so than asking us to fix specific things. So, all right. Wid XX. Was Krond like an afterthought character? I just find him quite useless. He's not a buffer debuffer. He isn't great as a DPS champion. So what's he actually good for? Considering the champ he replaces, I thought he would be better. It's interesting that you mentioned that, because when Krond launched, he was horrendously overpowered with an ultimate ability that could push you 10, 15, 20 levels past whatever your wall was before, and then it was nerfed to be in line with other ultimate abilities. And now it's just kind of he's been left behind by buffs to other champions and specializations. So, Krond will have his day. I don't know when that'll be, but he will have it at some point. The intent is certainly to have every champion be a star in their own right at some point. Level up some of these guys. What's my favorite ad? I'm just gonna. It's Undead for Midwinter, I think. It's 152, huh? Wow. All right. OMFG. Tora, is there a plan to make it easier to mouse over to see current HP? So David mentioned this before, in that it's a UI issue that we recognize and have acknowledged, in that certainly when enemies are swarming your tanks, you just can't really see what's going on, which could impact your timing for things like using ultimate abilities. So it's on our radar. Let's see. Where's my next question? CaliBoy96. Does Archon work in the front line with this new formation? I haven't used him yet, but he should. There's still at least 2 champions behind him. He self-heals, which is amazing, and so he's already a great tank. So certainly when you hit a wall and you're being swarmed with your front 3 characters, Archon is good to get swarmed. So I suspect he might be quite viable for some setups. PB and Jotter. Dylan, what is your title at Codename Entertainment? My title is Creative Marketing Specialist. In that... no, actually, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to explain it. It's a Creative Marketing Specialist. It's just not as fun as putting my current race class combo as my title in the stream, so that's what I always put. All right, Raycool, off stream. Will you run core DPS Makos with Regis in tow? I'm not sure, but I think there is an issue with how Ruby Weakness interacts with his base attack. I don't know, but I will make a note and investigate. Matt Parsley, I am confused about Regis' special attack. Is that when his Ruby Weakness is applied? So there's a couple things going on with Regis' special attack. So there's his encouragement and his weakness that are always active, and then his ultimate ability. increases the encouragement to all of your players. So it's a bit of a. I could see how that would be confusing. Maybe it's a wording thing that we could do to make it a little more obvious for everybody. Yeah. I'm going to take a moment to do an early introduction of my guest because she's already here, and she's just kind of skulking off to the side a little bit. So I'll let Erika get set up. This mic is now on, and yeah, just slide on over whenever you are ready. And yeah, I can welcome Erika. You're getting cut off. Just a little closer. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And then we will also have another raffle going shortly, but it'll be Clive. So if there's a mistake, it's his fault.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
No, you just got to hit the button. I think this thing has been knocked a few times. It gets knocked every time somebody's in here. So let's see. Actually, you probably have a better idea about the Regis special attack than I would, because you actually sit over by the developers all the time.
I sit over by the developers, but I haven't been eavesdropping on that one recently.
Okay.
The little Crusaders event focused today, at least.
Yeah. All right, talking to the mic. I want to make sure that I'm getting you.
I'm talking into the mic.
There we go. That's way better. Yeah. We're getting close. Nice and close. Oh, shit.
Or take it off the table entirely.
Somebody must have hit it. Yeah, just... This happens every time. Yeah, that'll be a good temporary fix. Anyways,
yeah. So, sad to say, can't really discuss Regis. It's more a Justin question for sure.
oh.
I haven't even actually finished the run to unlock him. I mean, I'm currently around area 90 or something.
Oh, are you just idling it as far as yeah?
Yeah.
That's what I was doing yesterday, and I haven't used him enough to really know how he works, but we've been getting a lot of feedback lately about the specificity of our communication in terms of how some things in the game work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, now that more of the bugs are fixed, it's the feedback we're getting more often. It's like, this isn't explained very well. It's like, okay.
It's like, how does it fit on how much space we have in game, and given other considerations going forward, right?
Yeah. All right, what do we got? We got all kinds of stuff here. I think our questions are separated now.
Possibly.
So we can start getting into these. Lacknor. Would you please add Blessed Hammer to the listed DPS? It doesn't need to be dynamic like Nayeli. A calculated average boost would be fine.
It's not in the DPS because it's only affecting one champion, and it was part of the reason why we actually based the ultimates off on party DPS in the first place. It's so you don't have to move everyone around and everything. So, and that's why the nerf to Barrowin happened. It's
the adjustment, the bug fix.
The bug fix for her actually affecting ultimates when she wasn't supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's an interesting thing because...
I think we do have the hammers on the affected champions now, though. Like, if she's buffing any of them, they get the hammers showing up on them for how many stacks they have. So
yeah, there's the little graphic that Mark put in that stacks up to 4. Nothing like seeing your the useless people that sometimes in your formation with 4 stacks on them permanently.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. All right, let's see.
Don't change Regis, he's fine.
No, Regis is good. I have found him to be at least as good as Celeste for me, but I got a silver shiny and the gold shiny, so it's like, of course he's good, because my Celeste, mostly blues still. I just can't get loot for her. Everybody else is getting close to the point where they're in all purples, but not Celeste. So.
Yeah, I'm sitting on some gems I could use to gear my people out, but they're just like half. Purple, blue.
Yeah,
some even, I think Hitch still has green, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It took me a long time to gear Hitch.
And of course, I am nowhere near unlocking Dritz. I don't play that often.
Oh, really?
I need to push more on my Torms. That's where all my event favors have been going lately, is converting it to Torms, because I just have no time to farm it.
And unlocking Dritz is tough.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically, it's...
I beat the first one, but that's only to area 150, I think. And another 25 areas seems a little impossible right now.
Yeah, most people are using up all their potions to do it. I think I was able to idle to 10 low areas out, and then I'm just like, I had to active play and use ultimates for the rest of it.
I need some more blessings too, along with the favor.
Yes. You definitely want
and probably need to go search for the formation to use, because my formation probably isn't ideal.
Well, especially since he's useless in that formation, so it's tough. Erika, you have the best rewards for Extra Life. You're awesome. Can you buff Regis ult for me for more power?
I was trying to do my best for Extra Life this year, and it was carte blanche with as far as chest giveaway was, so that was cool. I don't know about buffing Regis's ultimate. That's more a Justin thing. I think we're happy with the power for right now, but I mean, the game is always changing. Really, it's very dynamic, so who knows?
It seems really good to me, but I haven't used it much, because I tend to I only use ultimates when I get late in my push anyways, because it doesn't really help much earlier. So Moonbeam. Let's see. C Joshua V. For those of us who are relatively new to the game, there feels like a sudden steep curve after we get initial mastery of all the green and yellow missions, where the reds seem impossible. I assume we just need to grind yellow missions for favor, but there doesn't seem to be a clear roadmap for that. Is there such a roadmap, or any guidance to ease the frustration?
That's kind of interesting. Obviously, we could use some work on the difficulty ratings. It's something to bring up with Justin at some point, but yeah, you want to grind the free plays for favors so you can buy blessing and get the gems for chests to gear out your champions. But there's not really a roadmap, because we don't want you to feel locked in to doing adventures. Like, if you're a new player to the game and you go through the tutorial and you do enough to unlock Tomb of Annihilation, then you can just go and farm your stuff on Tomb of Annihilation content and go play that if that's what's more interesting to you than just doing the Grand Tour of the Sword Coast. Obviously, the players in the Discord and the Reddit will have more information on formations and how to farm, but I mean, it's really your game to play how you want it to play, and your story to play. So, I mean, yeah.
All right, Mr. Paladin. Sometimes I can't see the HP of my front tank because all the enemies are being in the way. Can our champion's current health show on their portrait as well?
That is definitely something that comes up a lot. I think it started to actually come up during the stream, right? And you said
they were
Dave's
asking about
the
buffs and debuffs or whatever to show up on there as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're aware it's a question that's being asked. I don't know where it fits in the plans, if we'll do it or not, but it probably would be something to have helpful at some point. So you can actually see how much longer they're going to live.
That's a funny way of putting it. All right, so Lisa, why does Regis of all people, have a self DPS item? He'll basically never be a DPS character.
That's a common complaint among both our games, actually, but I mean, there are the situations where you're not going to have access to your damage dealer, and so you still want your support to have some ability to do damage, so they do get some self DPS.
It's true. I mean, certainly in the earlier levels, like, if your character actually couldn't do any damage, then your early
you wouldn't
progression
start.
would be
You'd have
really
to click
slow.
through it.
Yeah. It's kind of a thing. We have people asking us how to unlock Dritz. It's like, you basically complete everything in the Sword Coast.
Well, you just need to do the first adventure of all the adventures. Like, you don't need to do all the variants for the ones that are the Wayside Inn, and then you need to go to Waterdeep and then do some variants in Waterdeep.
I think there's a set number of
yeah,
Sword Coast variants that need to have been completed in order for it to show
there's
up.
The adventures themselves have requirements on how many you need to do to unlock them, but I mean, it's not a terrible amount of work, but you do need to have like I was saying, blessings and favor to push and the gear and the potions and everything.
Yeah, and certainly with Dritz, it's a tough one. Like, Justin mentioned it on stream, and I think it's been mentioned otherwise, that it is intended as a challenge that's there for players for a while. When you start the game, it's going to take you a month or longer to build up to the point where you can push through that and do that variant. It's tough. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Lekdan 1983, is the amount of event tokens only depending on time or also on the level progression of the active run?
So it is time. So it's roughly 2 2 per minute. Yeah.
Yeah, every 30 seconds.
Yeah, every 30 seconds. But if you are on an area where you aren't killing the monsters within those time limits, then you might see it drop a little differently. But if you look at your contracts and when you're offline, it's the flat 2 per minute.
Mm-hmm. I think a few of the guides that have been posted have talked about how many per hour or per day that is, and they just put it up. So
yeah, so it's roughly like 2,800 a day, and so you get around 30,000 for the entire event if you don't want to use contracts for it. So,
which that's what I save my contracts for. I only use them for events. It's like, oh crap, I forgot to farm enough to do the next run. Use a bunch of contracts.
Hopefully you notice that before you reset, or else you go to a different free play before you can start an event.
I might have done that on stream before. Alrighty, let's see. Pisces RD. Any plans to increase Celeste heal range? Most times she can either heal or buff, but not both.
I think we're happy with Celeste as she is, but it's definitely something to ask Justin for a future upgrade.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, like, you're using Calliope for healing right now, right?
Yeah, I just use her for her shield instead of using Celeste to heal. Just because, like, from here she can reach the whole front line, so why not?
Yeah.
But also, like, you know.
But it is part of the choices too, right? Like, where am I going to put her to make the most use of it?
Yeah, totally. And it's interesting because I find, like, the only levels where I've really noticed were the ones where, like, the rocks were falling on you. It's like, okay, I spaced my healers around so that they wouldn't die while I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, yeah.
And it worked.
Well, going through the temple one while the temple debris was falling outside of the temple as well, that was a fun experience until we fixed that.
Yeah. It's like, where are these rocks falling from? Okay, this is interesting. Agaratrell. Does gear drop for Dadius? I've never gotten a single thing for him, and all my other guys have full gear sets.
So Dadius is an event champion, and their gear is only available from their event chests when the event is running, and if they ever end up in a weekend promotion and they're one of the champions selected. So he was actually in the weekend promotion just following his event. So
yeah, he was in the first weekend promo.
Yeah, so we'll see when he comes back in the weekend promotions. But I do think we may have other ways to get here planned, but nothing else to say public at this time.
Let's see. Would it be possible to make hero pictures smaller so we don't have to scroll back and forth? It's this again. Back to the UI.
Yeah, back to the UI. Well, at least they're consistent in asking it every week.
No, that's good, because that's how we know that it's something that people want.
Yeah. I mean, you can use the mouse wheel to scroll if you really don't like pushing the arrow keys on the sides of the bench. But we'll see what happens. It's not currently in our plans.
Yeah. There's somebody asking where you use the weekly stream code. You use it in game. You just
the shop button.
Enter the stream code in here, which I already did at the beginning of the stream, so I can't do it again. But yeah, that's where stream codes go.
And if you don't want to try typing it in, you can always use Control V to paste it in.
All right, let's see. This is interesting. Niall Sussinet. Do you ever plan on doing streams that show upcoming features? Can we answer that?
I don't know.
I don't know that we can answer that. Yeah.
I mean, if there was something...
Ironically.
It would probably depend on what the upcoming feature was and how tested it was, and if we actually wanted to spoil it ahead of time, but it's probably not something we would do.
Yeah, I think it would depend on a lot of factors.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, this is interesting. This has come up again. Has the team considered a previous stream question whether or not a champion may take up more than one space?
Whew. I think that's still a whiles out if it's ever going to happen. Because then, obviously, they'd have to be powerful enough to justify not having a champion in that slot. If they're taking up 2 slots, and I guess maybe if it's a giant. But even then, we're trying to keep champions in scale, so...
Roughly in scale, because Tiro would be quite a bit more massive than a lot of these people.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, it's like when are we going to add a bugbear? And it's like, well, bugbears are freaking huge, you know. Like,
It's your entire formation.
Yeah.
Can you beat this? Can you beat
sweet.
this adventure with just this one champion?
yeah. And then if so, why would you ever use anybody else? Alrighty. Sorry if this was asked before, but is there a plan for new players to be able to acquire old event champions?
We love this question.
Yeah.
Don't we? So currently it's just when the event runs the next time or a similar event. But we might add other ways before then. We don't know. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
As far as content goes.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to talk much about because we don't have a specific way that everything's going to happen yet. And we don't want to say one thing's going to happen and then not have it happen, or, you know, so it's like it's a very tricky thing to communicate, even if we were allowed to.
Yeah.
So, Zacia, any update on the future of health potions? Not that we can share.
Not that we can share, no.
Yeah. Alrighty. This is a
The
good
question
one.
comes.
Yeah. Daylight Asunder. Although I love the fact you are giving away some DLC packs on stream, or on Steam, is the idea that if we buy them when they come out before they may come up for free, is that we get a boost earlier? So giving away our DLC for free on Steam is not something that we plan to have as a regular occurrence.
For sure.
We can't really get into why it's happening now specifically, but yeah, what can we say about that? It's certainly not something that we intend to do with our DLC.
No,
regularly.
it probably won't be a regular thing. I mean, maybe we can say it's because of the Humble Bundle. It did release a lot of Celeste keys into the wild.
Yeah, it sure did. It seemed like almost everybody had already gotten it at that point. Yeah, that contributed. That and just like timing for things on Steam. As an indie developer, you have not a lot of control over how you are promoted on Steam.
For sure.
You just don't. So
And
if an
they've changed the
opportunity,
algorithms over the years on how you can do stuff.
yeah. So when opportunities come up, you pounce. Yeah, that's really it. But yeah, we certainly don't plan to regularly give away Steam DLC in that way. Certainly not for free.
Just our raffles.
We do like doing it on stream, and there's another one coming up in a little bit. But yeah, it's not something that we intend to do regularly. So, yeah. Baron Stromguard, when will the Force Grey pack be free, or at least on sale? It's never going to be free.
Probably not.
Period. Can't speak to sales. Because we literally can't, actually. I think that's one of the things with Steam is like you actually can't talk about
No, you can't
upcoming stuff at all.
You can't
You're
talk
under
about
NDA
any of
on
their
everything.
future sales, for sure.
Yeah. So it's like, people are able to figure out through various means when a sale might be coming, but we wouldn't be able to talk about it anyways.
Yeah, we can't announce it at all.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's see. Is the game likely to get Steam trading cards when it leaves early access? Wouldn't that be sweet? I'd love that.
Well, the trading cards are existing. I just don't know why we haven't pushed the button on them yet. So
I think Dave must not be happy with it or something. 'Cause,
Maybe.
I know that it's been something that's been in progress.
yeah, but anyone who has made purchases gets them retroactively, so it's not a
Yeah.
a big deal when they do get released.
Someday.
Someday, hopefully. I would like that too. We have some pretty cool art. Adam was pretty awesome there.
Yeah, and so much art that people don't get to see too. So it's one of those things. Chomp the Spear. Any chance that event tokens could be reduced for free play after all variants have been completed?
It's an interesting position to take, but I mean, you are getting a chest from doing your free play, so that's part of why they do cost so much event currency, because you're getting at least a silver, if not a gold upgrade to the event chest. So it's not like it's just a free play for favor like on all the other adventures. So
Medea Leet.
another one
Will
trying
you raise the level cap soon? I can't comment on that.
Nope.
Yeah. Portland Ace. Any update on critical hit dice rolls getting added to the game? Are wondrous items being added? I don't know that we could say anything about that either.
I don't know. I mean, I do know we wanted to have a dice animation in the game at some point, but I'm not sure whatever happened to that.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be kind of cool if there were some situations. You can always roll your dice in chat just for fun.
Yeah. Mike Hermit. Regis's achievements were in the event achievement tab a week in advance. Was this an error, or is this some sort of advance you're giving us?
We'll say it was an advance. Unintentional advance, actually.
Yeah, that actually ended up being beneficial in the sense that
since Wizards had leaked it early.
Since lines were crossed a little bit, and it was talked about in advance.
Mm-hmm.
And also like it could be beneficial too. Certainly the earlier version of Regis that was in the game already.
For sure.
That players were talking about because they noticed it. It's like, hey, this Regis has black hair. What's up with that? And it's like, hey, you're right. And then like we go back and check and make sure that everything is looking right for the game for when he actually comes out.
Yeah, and Wizards thanked our players for finding that
discrepancy.
Yeah,
because the what do they call it? The concept art that had sent our way was the wrong version. So we were working off the wrong version to make Regis.
Because they had made him dark, but now they're making him back to normal or something.
Yeah. The certainly quite a few of their canonical characters have gone through variations over the recent years, and there's 3 or 4 different versions of just the Regis concept art that I've seen, and so it was a good opportunity for us there. Giant dwarf. Any advice on the devourer?
Kill it fast.
Kill it before it eats somebody. Yeah, it's the best thing.
Yeah.
I haven't reached him at 200 yet, but I blew through him at 150. So yeah, I suspect at 200 he's going to be super tough.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Be prepared.
Templar 81. Are there any plans for rewarding those of us who have purchased all DLC? I love the game and love supporting you, but when there are raffles or giveaways, I feel like they are no fun for me. I don't know what to tell you about that. I mean, first of all, thank you for supporting us. Like, that's
for
huge.
Sure.
I don't know what the percentage of our players are who support us, but enough that we were able to keep doing this, which is the ideal. And if more would support us, that would be great. I mean, what you get is like
you got that early.
Yeah, but also the gold shiny items that don't currently show up in any kind of chests. Like you only get these through different types of purchases. So you have those. Like that's what you get for being a purchasing customer right now. Mm-hmm. So there isn't an intention to add anything else.
Well, and you still have the stream chests and the weekly newsletter chests. So I mean, which is helping you do whatever, level up your gear, get the potions back that you've used on your adventures in the game so far. So.
Yeah, certainly quite a few free chests go out every week through Maze Arcana and through the newsletter and then through the stream when we're not too sick to be on it. Mm-hmm. So people are getting their opportunities to get some extra loot here and there. But yeah, Templar 81, we really do appreciate the players who support us.
Oh, for sure.
And it makes a huge difference in whether or not this game keeps going. Yeah. So thank you. Alrighty. This one's for you specifically.
I think I'm hearing Nick laugh too much.
Yeah. Yes. It's indoor. As community manager, what is your favorite recent thing in Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms? And what addition to a game are you the most proud of?
Wow. What recent thing? That's actually been added. Well, probably Regis, since the players do seem to be happy with Regis, and he's another champion of the hall for Dritz to play with. So maybe even Dritz is viable. What addition to a game am I the most proud of?
Yeah, you've been with Codename a little longer than me, so you can think of more features.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard to say. I guess just seeing all the games come to life, for sure. Like, being here for the launch of Crusaders and being here for the launch of Idle Champions is pretty cool. And I did enjoy going back to Bushwhacker 2, our almost 6-year-old game. I did enjoy when Justin started adding the quest hubs that added additional content and more grindiness to end level stuff, so it was pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
I don't know anything about Bushwhacker 2. All I know is that, like, there's a corner of the office that works on it who we can hear laughing through the door right now. So they're having too much fun. And that's about all I know about the game.
Yeah, well, whacking bushes, because it's the best part of Zelda.
Oh, that's so funny. Alrighty. Nomad84. What kind of questions is Erika best equipped to answer? We should ask her more of those. Is there a question you wish you'd been asked? And Dylan, what is something only Erika knows about? So what question do you wish you had been asked?
What question do I wish had been asked? That's a tough thing because I get asked questions all the time, don't I? Well, mostly because I'm doing the Crusaders
Yeah,
Q&A.
your job title could really be the answerer. Answerer.
I mean, obviously, I'm not Justin, but I do sit nearer to the developers than Dylan does, so there might be something I can answer, but there's not really a specific Erika question, for sure.
Yeah, I think you are certainly much more in touch with the development of the game than I am. I'm like doing what I can to catch up, but you're way ahead. And also, like, I mean, you know more about, like, maybe not Idle Champions, but like Crusaders, you probably know more than the wiki off the top of your head.
Most of the time, yeah. Although we are entering, it's almost the 3rd year this July, so it's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like Kevin asked me a question about what we've done before, and I was like, I think it's there, and I think it's there, and I can't tell you the rest of the spots off the top of my head right now, because I'm kind of focusing on something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I should play Idle Champions a little bit more, but I do my best to stay a little fluent in the language, for sure.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, you know, it's hard enough to be an expert in any one game.
Yeah.
Let alone multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm glad you do the Discord.
Yeah. What is there something that only Erika knows about? I mean, I wasn't actually here for the Idle Champions launch. I came on board just after when they realized, like, wait a minute, we're going to be doing streaming. We need somebody who has an idea of how to do that. And then, like, I fought a bunch of other people to the death and managed to emerge.
I think it's because you actually played video games.
Yeah.
Recent video games.
Yeah. Well, I play a lot of games.
Well, yeah, and you play D&D, so.
That too. That helps. I'm just trying to think of what, like, only you would know, and I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. Because, like, wouldn't I not know then that you're the only one who knows that?
Yeah, because then you would know too.
Yeah.
But there's stuff that we do know, both of us, but we can't spoil for the players yet.
Yeah. I
Which
still want to talk about some of those things.
I would love to.
Yeah.
But I think there's actually a release date in the calendar for that, so fingers crossed we hit it.
Yeah. There are dates. There are upcoming dates that we would love to talk about when we have more information to share. Alrighty. Mike Hermit, I missed the start of this session. Is Erika the same Dev Erika from Idols who finally credited me my tokens?
Well, I don't think you actually did an introduction. You just said Erika's joining me. But,
Yeah. This is Erika.
This is Erika of Codename.
Yeah, community manager of the entirety of Codename Entertainment, not just Crusaders of the Lost Idols or Idle Champions of Forgotten Realms or Bushwhacker 2, but all the things.
All the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, although you're supposed to be doing the Codename stuff, but...
Yeah. It's
we
hard
haven't
to
really
figure out
done anything
what exactly
Codename
to do
to share
with it.
recently.
Yeah. I try to share developer or company related news, but there just hasn't been a lot to share. So it's like, it gets tough. People are wondering when you're going to be in Crusaders of the Lost Idols.
Maybe eventually. I don't know. I do know a bunch of the guys from the development team are in the game because they had Bushwhacker characters from the original Bushwhacker 1, who made it into Bushwhacker 2, and when the Bushwhacker 2 models were used, they made it into the game as well. So, I mean, or I could already be in there as an inspiration from Justin's head, but I don't know. I mean, I did fight for the most recent Centaur Crusader to be added to the game, so...
I saw that, yeah. I saw that notes in Jira.
Yeah. So, I mean, that could be me. I don't know.
Shenna?
No, I was hoping to have a Rose Wizard Crusader at some point, but that was back when Nick was in charge, so...
Mm-hmm. Chomp the Spear asking if you were ever nervous about getting asked anything in particular, or about coming on as a guest in general. I guess that's referring to this stream.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason I'm not hosting the stream, obviously, and why we hired you to host the stream, because I don't think I could do that. I mean, I would push myself, but it might not be very professional or whatever.
Oh,
but I mean, it's not
there's an adult warning on this channel,
of
so
course.
we don't really have to be that professional anyways.
No, that's true. But yeah, I don't really... It's not more nervous, it's just like, because I am an introvert, it's like, every question's awful, but because I know the answer and I can help.
That's a good quote, actually. I'm just going to put that on a picture of your face later. I'm an introvert, every question is awful. That's perfect.
It's because I know the answer and because I can help, then there's a reason to be talking, and so it's as long as I don't, like, you know, run at the mouth and say something I'm not supposed to.
Yeah. So Zassia, this is... Okay, far and away from spoilers, if you could add any character from anything to the game, who are your top picks?
Maybe Optimus Prime champion.
Speaking of taking up multiple slots.
For sure. I don't know.
I guess
from anywhere.
Hasbro owns Wizards, right?
Yeah.
So that could actually happen.
True. My Little Pony champion.
Wow, Rainbow Sparkle champion. Yay.
I don't know. I guess... I'm a big fan of David Edding's Belgariad and Malorian series, but I mean that's basically based on fantasy stories in general, and in the same realm as Tolkien and Dungeons and Dragons already. So I mean, I guess one of my favorite character from those series is Ariand, the god, who's living on Earth. Or, well, whatever their planet is. As a human, so, I mean, maybe we had, like, a godlike champion or something.
That's a good question,
It's hard to say.
Yeah. I remember somebody asking...
Because, I mean, we're going to be adding everybody eventually, right?
We'll get there.
Yeah.
I remember early on, before we even had Dritz, somebody's like, I want Raceland Majir and Strahd and, like, somebody else all in my party. I'm like, that's a big ask. It's like, you want...
Well, and the funny thing is, you say you want all those characters, but then when some of our, like, comments when we first released were like, why would everybody be partying together? And the party is 9 to 12 people already, and most adventuring parties in D&D is just 5.
Yeah, I think the average size
so we're
is
breaking
about 5.
the rules, obviously, in how you adventure.
It's hard to imagine that Dritz and Jarlaxle and Brunner would be in a group together, because they'd be like, yo, Jarlaxle, piss off.
Is it raffle time?
Yeah, it's almost 2:30. So yeah, what are we giving away at 2:30? I think... Oh, Hitch DLC.
Ooh, this is awesome.
Yeah, this is the Hitch Force Grade DLC pack. So that you too can have a Hitch that's got a golden shiny, magnificent cape of free flowing. It's a pretty big deal. Certainly, you know, if you're already unable to live without Hitch, this will just make it only more so. Yeah, it's super good. Super, super good, actually. His buff is already so strong. Yeah. God, I'm trying to think of who I would add to the game. I would love to see more antagonists. You know, because like characters that might not necessarily be in your party, but that you would face over and over again and stuff. You know, like
returning villains.
Yeah. You know, I love Strahd. Strahd is awesome.
Well, he's from Ravenloft, right?
Yeah. And the Curse of Strahd adaptation of Ravenloft for 5e. Great character. Total selfish douche.
It'll be interesting to see what we do with Asarak once we get to the Tomb content, right? And if he comes back or not.
I suspect Asarak will, be throwing a lot of zombies and crazy spells.
Like 10 zombie T-Rexes on the screen at once.
Yeah.
With pixies riding the zombie T-Rex.
Yeah, right. It was certainly very insane to watch the Force Grey season finale when Asarak TPK'd their group. easily. It was pretty funny though, but it was awesome. Alrighty, very cool. If y'all weren't limited to 5th edition Forgotten Realms, what campaign settings could we have seen?
Would that be other planes or?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's everything from Dark Sun to Eberron. It's an interesting question.
Depend on where we were in our storyline, and
yeah, I think the other thing is that the way that the Forgotten Realms and the way that 5th edition is set up, it seems like, because like on Dragon Talk not that long ago, they sure spent a lot of time talking about Sigil, which is like a multiverse hub, and there are a lot of characters and lore in the Forgotten Realms and just Dungeons and Dragons in general that connect the multiverse in different ways. So like there's always a chance that we could see things anyways.
Yeah, like 5e will get there eventually or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Not that we know anything about where 5e is going.
No, we really don't. But like certainly Unearthed Arcana that have come out already. The races from Eberron have been released. Sub races of elves have been released. A bunch of classes have been released. Playtesting content for the most part, but quite a few of those Unearthed Arcana playtests have turned into subclasses and stuff in Xanathars and other things. So, they have certainly given out enough test material that you could run an Eberron or a lot of other settings in 5e. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any limits to what we could eventually see, but. Yeah, actually, I can't go any further in that direction. Yeah. Smith of Dreams. Would it be viable to have a selection of chests for each champion's artifacts for a higher gem cost?
Oh, it's an interesting
Character-specific.
suggestion. We can pass it along to Justin. I don't know if it would happen or not, but
Yeah, I don't know what his thought on that'll be. It might just be like, no! Or it might be like, okay. So I guess we'll wait
or
and
if
see.
players keep asking, obviously.
Yeah.
I think we've already addressed that one.
Yeah, we did.
Or is it a repeat?
Probably both. So Amethyst Dragon 19. Did you notice that in the current event you pluralize harpels with an apostrophe? Every time you pluralize with an apostrophe, a kitten dies.
Oh dear.
I haven't noticed because I have been idly playing the game and have not at all paid attention to the content. So if there are typos, let us know and we will get them fixed.
Yeah, I think Dave had a bunch of typo tickets this morning to fix. Maybe someone caught it, hopefully.
Yeah. Garwar, do you plan on having more than 2 primary campaigns prior to officially launching, or is the plan to just have those 2 fully fleshed out? No comment.
No comment.
Yeah.
It's still... Yeah, it's...
Yeah. There's
plans
no answer
for
we
the
can give for that.
campaigns. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a question that I'd love to answer. All right, Ice Flare 420. Is there an advantage to opening gold chests at higher levels? No.
No. Gold chests, they don't have gold like the silver chests do, so you can open gold chests whenever you want.
Yeah. But silver chests, ideally, you open them at your wall.
Yeah.
Or at, like, if you've reached an obstacle where, I could get past this level if I just leveled my guys a bit, you can open some silver chests and, like, get some levels. That sometimes you could do that.
Yeah.
Alrighty, question. Is Forgotten Realms the only universe you plan to use, or another like Dragonlance? Any plans to add Artemis and Trary? I've answered that about as much as we can.
Yeah, for sure.
The Forgotten Realms is linked to the D&D multiverse. And we can't comment on potential future champions or antagonists or what have you. Hybrid Dom. You have spoken often about empowering your highest DPS character. What advantages are there for focusing on AoE damage enhancement?
Do they mean trying to get their ultimates up? Because, like, Jamila and we do have some AoE champions, right?
Yeah, I guess the thing about focusing on AoE damage for your primary DPS is you can push further because you're less likely to get overwhelmed and killed. Mm-hmm. Because if too many enemies build up on the screen and you're getting close to your wall, you will die.
And your damage dealer is only killing one at a time, and you need to kill
it's one of the reasons,
much more.
It's actually one of the reasons why I like Dritz so much, is because he attacks fast enough that he is always attacking if you're using his 3 attack one. And so like I've been using him to push to my walls a lot lately. I guess my next level upgrade is for that on him. How close am I to it? Maybe I'll just use a contract to get to it now so that people can see it. So now he's just going to, by himself, be tearing through everything.
Well, you're not at your wall yet, but he's going to make some damage for sure.
No, but we're reaching the point where only him and Brunner are the ones killing the pack enemies at this point. So it's like Dritz will always be attacking. And this is why I actually really like him, because he's just so good at this. Because Jamila can only hit 2.
Yeah.
And Dritz will hit 3.
They're asking
Yeah, he shredded that level.
They're asking about our Dritz pronunciation again.
Dritz? Yeah. Is that how it's officially pronounced? That's an ongoing discussion. I mean, it's a double Z, which to me, like I think of double Zs, I think of pizza. But Dritz, it doesn't really work.
No.
It was Ari Salvatore who said Dritz, right?
Yeah, pretty
that's what
sure.
Adam was adamant about during one of our meetings, and so that kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Just like, whereas like a Calliope is, there is a official precedent in like the English language.
No, the Greek lore or whatever.
But it's like there's an instrument named after it. Like,
yeah, instrument.
Lauren pointed that out
everything.
a couple weeks ago. So it's like there is a right and wrong way to say.
Except when Justin says it wrong, and then it sticks in your head for a few days, and it's like, why, Justin? Why? I knew how to say that before.
Yeah. So that's the problem with material that you only read. Yeah.
I think Peter was saying he called Hermione Hermione for the longest time because he'd never heard it pronounced out loud.
Oh, you see, I'd never heard of Harry Potter until my baby sister at the time, she's a grown woman now, but my younger sister, who was probably still in her teens, made me take her to the first one in the theater.
Oh, wow.
And I hated it. And then the next year I had to take her to again. By the time the third one came around, I'm like, all right, I'll read these, because like now I'm kind of interested. It took a while to grow on me.
Well, my aunt got me a box set of the first 3 books, and then when I was reading the first one, I had vaguely remembered that someone in my class had done a book report on the first one. And I was like, oh, is that the book he was talking about? And it made so much more sense because I wasn't paying attention during his book report, obviously. Those old school days.
Alrighty, let's see. Somebody asking if I killed the other contenders for this job with a batleth. I don't think they were Trekkies. I killed them with the fact that none of them played video games before, pretty much. Or just
Current
actively
ones.
played games.
Yeah.
If you're going to talk about video games, you should at least play video games. Yeah.
The silver coins, it's
They were better looking than I am, though. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They're much more attractive people. You could have had a much prettier face to look at every week than this. They just might not have known
Or someone
what they were
without sinus problems.
Yeah, right. God. I cannot wait for all of this to be done. Oh, God. To breathe again.
Oh, yeah. That would be awesome.
A corpse. What are the silver coins you've got dropping? I thought they were something Mako's caused with his coin buff, but you're not using him. Stokey. Every enemy that Stokey has damaged, when it gets killed, will drop more gold.
Yeah, the silver coins just are a default bonus gold for anyone who does bonus gold.
Yeah. Any idea to include modules as adventures into the game, like Horde of the Dragon Queen?
So like modules are smaller player books.
Yeah, well, but the adventure around Tiamat is 2 books because there's Horde of the Dragon Queen and then there's Rise of Tiamat.
Right.
So like the 2 of them together are basically
It's a campaign. So if it was something to consider doing, it'd probably be campaign rather than just one shot adventure.
Yeah. It's possible.
It's possible.
Let's see. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, Zazaya, there is an enrage timer on enemies and bosses if you're taking too long to kill them. Or if you have more than X amount of monsters on screen.
Yeah, they get real mean.
Yeah, they don't want you to survive.
They're in it to get you. Which enemy's coming up next? Oh, the Shadow Ghoul. There goes the Shadow Ghoul. Alrighty, what's next? Giant Dwarf. Statement. That's a problem with more godlike Avatar champions, as the gods aren't supposed to walk on Toril for ages by now, I think.
Well, they said, what would I like to see? Obviously, if it's not feasible, it's not feasible.
Yeah. Lossian86. When do you plan on actually launching the game? We can't say when, but we can say that we will.
We will be out of early access at some point.
Leance22T, have you thought about a guide to asking questions in the stream? Is this question about unannounced content? We can never answer. We have thought about that. And, it's kind of one of those things where there are always going to be
Players
new
who don't read.
people. Players who don't read the guide, sure. But also, there's always going to be people who have never been on our stream before asking questions. Whether that's somebody who's on the D&D Twitch because they're waiting for Critical Role, or somebody who is, new to the game, or has just never joined the stream before, or whatever. And so, I know it can get repetitive for
our loyal viewers.
Yeah, but it's also important to take the time and answer the questions when we can anyways.
I mean, part of what Clive and I are supposed to be doing when we're pulling questions from chat is maybe not so many duplicate questions in front of you, but it's hard to say because chat is moving so fast when we do that.
Yeah, and especially every time somebody says the word that rhymes with scraffle, chat explodes. Yeah. And any questions you might have been looking at sometimes disappear.
For sure. Once you have X many craffles on screen, then everything in chat is gone.
Yeah. Alrighty, Templar81. Any plans for us to go to Gen Con? I don't know.
I don't think the whole studio would ever go to a convention.
Yeah,
it would
if
just
anybody goes, I'm sure it's
probably
likely
you and
Eric.
Clive.
I think Eric will go, probably, if anybody.
Yeah, well, I know Eric used to go to Gen Con on his summer vacations, but in official capacity, we don't know what conventions we're going to this year.
No, that isn't set. I can only say that we won't be at any next week or the week after. I don't think.
Well, and Emerald City's probably too soon to make plans for.
Yeah.
Well, it's a Comic-Con anyway.
I know we will be at Capital City Comic-Con here in Victoria.
Yeah,
in what
it's a Victoria
capacity
convention.
that is, I have no idea because that's just down the street. But yeah, I'm not quite sure on what our plans are for other ones. We're going to be at some, though. We'll definitely be at some cons. And we'll definitely talk about that in advance. Because we'll be doing things like live tweeting from, live D&D games and such. So, yeah. Smith of Dreams, are there any non-Forgotten Realms Easter eggs hidden away? That would be for you to find out.
Yeah, I can't think of very many. I mean...
Yeah. Clicksand, any chance of having Ari Salvatore as a guest on the Twitch stream? Maybe he could end the Dritz pronunciation debate once and for all. Seems unlikely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Question, could you make Jarlaxle's bonus gold show up as silver coins too?
That doesn't need to show up as silver coins because it's already factored into your gold bonus. So
right, yeah, because he just increases your gold.
Yeah, he just adds into your multiplier for gold, so he's just already increasing the gold you get from monster kills by having him in formation.
Yeah, it's not quite the same thing as bonus gold showing up from individual guys that were hit.
Yeah, because Stokey and Mako specifically say when X happens, then the extra gold will drop, so...
Yeah, and if you're wondering whether or not it stacks, like Stokey damages a guy and then Mako's kills him, yes, it does. Targood, why you didn't add something like opposite alignment half the buff DPS? That would be interesting. We haven't taken alignment into account for any of the factors like that before. I
mean, it is a stat that's on the character sheet, so we may make use of it at some point. But
yeah, I'll just
who knows
make a
to
note
say
there.
What capacity it'll be in.
It's always nice to throw more ideas towards Justin's toolbox. Our Green Paradox. Are you writing a FAQ of the stream questions that we can read? No. We're not. Because I'm not going to transcribe 2 hours of Q&A every week. I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, no, we're a small team, and it's not the best use of our time. I mean, it'd be awesome if we did do it, but it's yeah, just needs more time.
All right. Inalamap, can you get foil equipment from gold chests?
If you mean shiny, like silver shiny equipment, then yes, they can drop from gold chests as well as silver chests. They're just a rare drop in general, for sure. Because they affect your entire gear slot, so of course they're going to be rare.
Yeah, it's a permanent gear slot increase, so it's so absurdly good. And with a drop rate to reflect how absurdly good it is. OMFG Torah. Any plans for a user customizable character? No. Yeah, sorry. Wid double X. Any plans for an Undermountain campaign? Could do the whole thing without repeating stage sets.
Without repeating. I think there's a reason we repeat the backgrounds, but...
God, Undermountain. Undermountain's huge. That would be cool.
It would be cool.
I'd like to see it. There are so many settings I'd like to see. I would like to have an Underdark map, and I would like to have a sigil way to get there. And there's a million things that would be very, very cool that I don't.
Very thematic.
Yeah.
I mean, our art team is awesome, so whatever they do with it would probably be awesome as well.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Yeah. So we got 10 minutes left, and we have about 5 minutes until our last giveaway. This time around.
Oh, you can show the Ant musical.
I can. So the last giveaway today is Calliope, 4th grade DLC, in 5 minutes. In terms of, Ant Musical is wondering, how do you know if you have a foil or a shiny piece of gear? It gets a little border around it on the icon. So if you look at my Regis, for example, here.
You got a shiny on your Regis?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, it's so good. That's why I'm not using Celeste anymore. But yeah, it's shiny. And it even says at the top, shiny level 14. Whereas normals just say the level.
Yeah, and you can see it in your collections as well, if you ever use the collections screen.
Yeah. No, the raffle hasn't started. That's why I said in 5 minutes. But that's okay. I kind of...
We feel sorry for...
Yeah.
I noticed Giant Dwarf mentioned what unpaid interns are for, but actually in Victoria you can't have unpaid interns.
Yeah, I don't know that that's legal.
We can have high school students in for like a week to get a sense for the company, but that's part of a school program. So they're not actually like doing anything for real, like a programming on the side or whatever. They're just learning about the company. But unpaid internships in Victoria, British Columbia are illegal.
Yeah.
You need to be paid for your work.
God, well, I'm pretty sure they were legal when I was doing that crap.
Oh, I think it's changed recently, but anyone we've had...
Do we pay our co-ops?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I know, the co-ops are lucky they get paid.
I had no idea. I just assumed they didn't, and I was like, that sucks.
Sorry for coughing in the mic.
Oh, excuse me.
I know.
Okay.
That's yeah, funny. We are Canadians.
Yeah.
I'm like... Divine Favor has no U because that's actually how Wizards of the Coast spells it, and we have to go by their canon. So, and obviously, we try to make everything in game American spelling. But if there are any Canadian typos, let us know.
Yeah, sometimes some of the Canadian sneaks out. Just makes me want to get into Letterkenny quotes. All right, let's see. OMFG Torah, would it be possible to turn off backgrounds as a setting? It would help with seeing some items or characters that are similar in color to the background. So that's a like a visible thing. So I don't know that we would ever turn off backgrounds, but that doesn't mean that we wouldn't look at.
I can't think who blends in, but
it sometimes happens. But it's like it just like colorblind settings. We don't have colorblind settings.
Yeah.
Let's see, Targud. Any plans on adding random interactions in the actual members on a formation, like they speak between kills and such? Oh, okay, so like in between, like just random chatter between all the different party members. That could get repetitive fast.
Yeah, it could, because they'd probably only have one or two phrases. We wouldn't do very much more otherwise, because there'd be no return.
Yeah. This one's for you from Garwar. Erika, when are they going to get you a community minion so you don't have to do everything yourself?
Well, technically, Dylan is my community minion. He took over writing the blogs for Crusaders and Idle Champions, and he does the newsletter, and he's doing the stream, so he's my community minion. He's doing the Discord, too.
It's not untrue.
But I mean, it did feel like I was doing it last week by myself because I took over your Q&A and Nick's Bushwhacker chat on the same day.
Yeah. We're all at
Plus
home.
getting all the
away. Tickets
done because I was sick the first 2 days of the week. So it's like,
that
was a busy day.
I saw somebody asked why I have Shatterkai Warlock instead of Azamar Cleric. And that's the character I played most recently.
Someone was wondering if your cleric had died already, but
No, my cleric is alive and quite well. We are at what's the name of the place? It's like Kebersol or something like that. The Erika city, like monastery in Chult. That's where that party is. And our blade singer mage dropped out because he can't make his schedule work with when we're available to play, so that one's kind of shifted around. But the party is progressing well. I have no idea if we'll make it through the Tomb of Annihilation with that group. My Azamar cleric is still alive, but the Shadar-kai warlock is the office. The Office Lunch D&D character who just blew up a bunch of bandits with Arms of Adar, which was really satisfying. And it's funny because the alignments in our party, it's like we have 2 chaotic good people and 1 lawful good person, but I'm lawful evil. Being a Shadar-kai, I'm selfish and in it for myself, and my goals and what I'm interested in has aligned with the party, which is why I'm there. Did not hesitate to murder a whole group of people immediately. Which in this context is great, but it might not always be the best thing. So I guess we'll see. Kitty Big Butt wants to know which walk animation is your favorite.
I don't know. Probably Stokey.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because it's just like you never see her walk animation because she's busy
she's
punching
always
everybody.
killing everything.
Yeah.
I like Hitch, except when he gets stuck too.
Yeah.
Still on the to-do list.
I think my favorite ones are both Tyrrell and Regis, because they're walking
using
with
their cane.
They're using their canes
staffs
to walk, and Regis looks like he's using it because he's walking lazily, whereas Tyrrell is using it because he's just walking with a staff.
Right.
And so I just thought the character showed up really well. Those ones in Bruner, I think, are my favorites. Yeah, Bruner just kind of marching away.
I got my axe.
Yeah, although I guess Minsk is just lackadaisically got his sword over his shoulder, so I don't know. It's all good.
Well, it's obviously when Boo is flying around the screen and Minx is ultimate, right?
Route Jarvie wants to know if they get disqualified for giveaways if they enter the raffle more than one time. Entering it more than once doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So there's literally no point in trying.
It's Moobot. It's not like other raffle systems where you can be disqualified.
Yeah.
I know the Chrome plugin we were trying to use when we were doing streaming on the Codename channel. You could set a limit for how many times people could try, and if they tried more than that, they'd be disqualified. Mm-hmm. But not for Moobot.
Yeah. Congratulations to Jelizaveta for your with your Calliope DLC. Congrats. And I just killed the blink dog in one hit. It's the blink dog that doesn't blink, as was pointed out to me earlier.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we're getting close to the end.
Oh, I did figure out one more person I would see as a champion.
Ooh.
I was watching the Shut Up and Sit Down Dungeons & Dragons campaign, and there's Sir Badger Kennington, and he's an asshat gunslinger.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so he's pretty awesome. And then, of course, the DM did a pretty good snake, just because the Dragonborn was talking to a snake, and the snake could be a champion.
Huh. I was totally thinking that, I want to see more characters in general.
Yeah, for sure.
There's such a wealth of amazing canonical characters that they've created that, there's just so many you could do. We could add Elminster once we add, 5 more slots to reflect how absurdly strong he is. That would be really cool.
Yeah, or, an actual ranger would be cool.
Yeah.
With, a ranged attack, like a bow and arrow or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's nothing I can talk about there.
No.
Yeah, so I guess on that note, it's 2:54. Should start to wrap this up. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Because you are normally very busy just managing the Codename account and handling the stream, but also you get a lot on your plate. So thank you for taking the time this afternoon to be in the room. And thanks to all of you for watching, and thanks to Wizards of the Coast for hosting us here. And I think the next thing on this Twitch today is the the hosting of Critical Role at 7, which I will be watching at home with Catherine. Probably. That's usually what we do on Thursdays. But anyways, yes, we will see you next week in the same time and place. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for playing.
And good luck with Midwinter.
Yeah. May your Regis drops be amazing. Yes. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Bye.